That's Maria Sklodowska-Curie. You have the crazed eyes of someone lost to the wilds and the stink of the Fae, clinging to your clothes. I'm Maria Sklodowska-Curie of the Calcularia, though the resolve in your stride suggests you already knew that. See, if I had just returned from the realms, I'd likely seek a bakery, perhaps a tea house, but a chemist? What an odd choice on your part. You can share tea and crumpets after I help you save the world. A lovely thought, but beyond premature if you seek to close the transept. Despite Lady Lovelace's objections, we have opted to barricade the Calcularium. The bound inside feed on despair, and Nightingale has laid out a banquet for them to guzzle and gorge. Until we are confident a rampant brute will not tear through the city, we cannot in good faith open these doors. Will you indulge me a few questions? I suppose I can spare a moment. Transept portals, as do we all, but I will do my best to answer. If they are open, why didn't you travel to the realms to request aid? Before we realized the transepts could not be sealed, we sundered all stable connections. The doors remain open, yes, but they lead nowhere. Or rather, they may lead directly into the Bound's nest. And if that is not reason enough, look at the pale seeping from them. Wherever they lead, it is no place fit for human life. What prevents their closure? That is the question, is it not? It began with the Paris transept. When it refused to close, the pale seeped through. We rushed to seal our own, only to find them equally defunct. The leading theory is that the Pale is both cause and consequence. A portal must be stable before it can be shut, and our stabilizers were never designed to contend with the Pale's influence. What prevents their closure? Oh wait, I already did this. How many transepts are there in Nightingale? 4 in total, but only 3 remain open. When news of the calamity reached us, the sages retreated into the Temple of Nomad, where the 3rd transept lies. After that, no one could pry the temple open, and no word ever came from within. Whatever happened there, the transept was no more. Hold on, just test my mic again. Okay, that's good. People of Nightingale. Trust your questions come from curiosity, not from any desire to stir trouble. This is not the time for strife, Realm Walker. What can you tell me about Lovelace? Ada King is our fearless leader, not just the head of the Calcularia, but also the unofficial matriarch of this city. She was among the first to recognize my potential and quickly became an ardent supporter of my career. I owe much to her, but it would be unfair to her intelligence to repay that with blind loyalty. That said, do not mistake our disagreements for any form of aversion. Ada will always hold a place in my heart, even if our differing opinions sometimes drive us apart. Lovelace implied a disagreement between you and Throckmorton. An understatement, to say the least. Throckmorton is not a man without morals, but he is one without grit. When it came down to it, he yielded. He carries the guilt, but others have paid a far steeper price. I can hold both sympathy for his plight and resentment for his cowardice. Want to inquire about you? I am hardly a subject of much interest, but sure, ask your question. Are you from Nightingale? Certainly not. My home is Poland and will always be so. Leaving for good was never my desire, but my love for science complicated matters. Nightingale's academia was far less preoccupied with my gender than my colleagues back home. And then, well, there were other reasons too. What do you mean by other reasons? How to even explain? I could never have conceived such an outcome, but now I am convinced Pierre and I were made to live together, and our union had to be. A French professor and a Polish student, both penniless and lost in the foreignness of Nightingale. He had seen me only a few times when he offered to share his life with me. The only occasion in his life when he acted without hesitation, with the absolute conviction that he was doing well. Where's Pierre now? ... My Pierre wished to see the Paris transept with his own eyes. He kissed me goodbye before he left, and it pained me to watch his train depart, even knowing we would be apart for barely a day. Sometimes I swear I cannot hear my heart beat, and I wonder if it's still waiting on that platform. Enough questions. What if I could stabilize the transept? Lovelace believes my knowledge can be useful. You are a daring stranger who carved a bridge from the Feywilds and sliced your way through the bound to reach my doorstep. Of course, I welcome your help. If I seemed contrarian, I apologize. My disagreements with Lady Lovelace must not taint our collaboration any further. Now tell me your story, Realm Walker. How did you leap between worlds in these strange, pale-infested times? What is the conflict between you and Lovelace? Lady Lovelace craves results and does not discriminate in her methods. Whether it is the desire for victory or revenge that drives her, I cannot say. It makes her reckless. At times, it makes her cruel. It matters little. Conflict is inevitable, but under the circumstances, we cannot afford to let it stall action. I retrieved a collocated lotus from the void itself. Agatha Harris's research made it possible. Agatha! Ah, my dear colleague. We worked together on the pylons. Fellow chemists in the trenches, she and I. When the Pale crept closer, I knew we both couldn't stay. We couldn't both stay, so I urged her to flee to the realms. What a joy to know she lives! I can only hope her road was less fraught than mine. May I see her work? Why couldn't the both of you stay? We need this knowledge on both sides of the door, I said. At the time, I thought it likely that only one of us would survive to pass it on. To imagine we might be brought together again through our work, it is a maudlin thought perhaps, but a comforting one nonetheless. I was under the impression the pylons were yours and Tesla's doing. Yes, the original schematics combined my research on ionizing radiation with Tesla's work on resonance electromagnetic induction. However, there is a world of difference between diagrams and fully assembled machines. Only with aid could we transform theory into reality, and of that we had plenty. Lady Lovelace oversaw the project, Lady McIntosh of the NTTC provided the funding, and countless others, researchers and laborers alike, brought it to light. People flocked to us now, the Calcularia, as though we alone held back the Pale. But I was not the one breaking my back hauling ingots and bags of cement. If I am granted the chance, I will ensure history remembers all the hands that bled for our survival. I like Marie. By all means. I had a similar hypothesis, but she's not accounting for... Oh, like a telegraph. Brilliant! But what of... No, not in an earthly atmosphere, but perhaps... Yes, of course. This is good. Very good. We cannot replicate the machine to the letter, but if we reconfigure the stabilizer's difference engine, I believe we can instead establish direct communication with the pylons. I shall brief our mathematicians and begin work on the chemical solution at once. Nevertheless, someone must enter the calcularium to manually jumpstart the stabilizer, and I stand by my words. I will not open these doors until we weaken the beasts inside. Lovelace warned me her judgment is compromised. Lady Lovelace is willing to risk her life and sanity to undo the fate that has befallen us. That is admirable, it truly is. But she cannot speak for others, and I will not let her sacrifice unwilling lives, not one more. How can we weaken the bound? If the creatures feed on despair, then we must let them starve. While I work on the stabilizer, you must search the city for ways to ease its suffering. Any spark of hope we can kindle will weaken the beast's hold. If you will indulge me, I have awaited word from my friend Granville Woods for some time, and I fear his fate. Someone in the NTTC headquarters might know if he is in need of aid. I'll start there. Thank you, ever so. It has been far too long since I felt this sanguine about our prospects. Give me that gold teacup. Waiting for the blood red, I don't see it. Okay, where are we going? There's Throckmorton, Blanche, Winifred, inactive. Wait. Is that where my quest is? Queen's Bray. Where's Queen's... Oh, this is Queen's Bray. Okay. Transept. Oh, I think I've been here. Supposedly there's a Bastille of Agility here. What? Okay, I felt that. There's something awkward about this place. I don't want to like fall through the map. I feel like there's a lot of assets in Nightingale, but they're not all well placed. Oh, great. I hear you. Defeat the Bound in the front yard. Okay, yeah, let's go. We're doing it. Holy shit! Oh, looks like you have to go all the way around. shot for someone. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll take this. Spawn more magic guys from this slaughter. You guys aren't even trying to defend this, are you? I was gonna say, that one's not glowing. Gallery room door? Oh, this? Okay. Oh, that's pretty cool. Throckmorton. I cannot quite say what I had envisioned, but it was certainly not whatever it is that you are. Ah, but do forgive me, that was most unbecoming. Rest assured, yours is blessed sight, however eccentric it may be. Dude, you're calling me eccentric? And yet, I find myself at a loss. The pests swarmed us before we could so much as scream, let alone send a telegram. Who, pray, sent you to our aid? I hear a battle, I join in. I'm here at Curie's behest. Last I heard, Monsieur Pierre remained on the wrong side of the pale, but surely you do not mean Madame Curie? Although, I grant, she may yet concern herself with others in this building. I am Nicholas Throckmorton, overseer of the North Transept Trading Company's research wing. In the name of the company and all whose lives you saved today, you have our deepest gratitude. Do you trust the building is secure now? Ah, until the next crisis, no doubt. We collaborated with the finest minds in security technologies, from the Chubb brothers to Edwin Holmes, to render the NTTC grounds virtually inaccessible to intruders. And yet, we accounted only for common burglars and the occasional hermetic zealot, not undead behemoths. And of course, there remains the matter of fuel. Even after cutting supply where we could, there's only so much time we can buy. Once the coal reserves are depleted, the only thing standing between us and the bound will be a sturdy door. You should invest in fighters. You ought not to be so proud stating the obvious, my friend. The NTTC has a long and successful history of employing realmwalkers such as yourself to protect our interests. Unfortunately, when the Pale descended, not even all the coin in the Queen's coffers would keep them from bolting to the realms. What sort of cuts had to be made? Nothing that concerns you, surely. It's suspicious that you won't tell me. The unburdened fellow is ever quick to judge and loud to complain. I will not stand idle while you scrutinize the impossible decisions made by those who've kept this city standing as long as it has. Oh God. Capitalists. And that, my friend, is my final word on the matter. Why not join forces with the Calcularians? Oh, my dear naive realmwalker. That eyesore in the Calcularium's front yard isn't the Calcularia's, but Maria's camp. She and I worked side by side for quite some time, right here, under this very roof, until she deserted us and trotted off with her wounded pups in tow. These halls may belong to the NTTC, but I'd wager we house twice the calcularians Maria does. Unless, of course, she started handing out membership titles in lieu of rations. Why did Miss Curie leave? Irreconcilable differences, one might say. What would you say? That I wish she had stayed. Does that satisfy you? Why do you have so many calcularians here? Well, why wouldn't we? The NTTC and the Calcularia share a long, established and equitable friendship. When word of the Pale reached Nightingale, our chairperson, Lady Mackintosh, did not hesitate to fund Lady Lovelace's plan of action. The very pylons that now shield us from certain death are the fruits of that prosperous partnership. Naturally, when the Bound began their assault, we extended the courtesy of shelter to the Calcularians. Here they are protected, well-fed, and afforded every resource necessary to continue their research. Where is Lady Mackintosh now? You truly have a penchant for probing into matters that are none of your concern, don't you? Well, I would say, if you're an optimist, Lady Gallivant made her way into the realms before the worst hit the city. If you're not, well, I would strongly suggest you be an optimist. Let us hope the Bound do not find their way back to your doors. And if they do, may our paths cross once more. Now, if you still find yourself in a helpful mood, one of my inventors has yet to return from his latest escapade. I fear he may have become stranded once we were forced to shut our doors. If you happen to take a detour to the Provisioner's Burrow, I would be most grateful if you could look for Granville Woods. Same guy, huh? But before you go, I insist you accept this. I could not possibly quantify the lives you have saved today, but I trust this token will convey the company's deepest gratitude. Take care, Throckmorton. Ah, Realmwalker, how may I help you? I have some questions. I shall answer what I can. I want to know about your work here. Certainly, we pride ourselves on our candor and transparency. Might I ask why Lady Mackintosh is not in charge here? Lady Mackintosh remains chairperson of the North Transept Trading Company. However, she has graciously entrusted me with overseeing the research wing and acting as liaison to our esteemed Calcularian guests. What is this research wing? Traditionally, the North Transept Trading Company has relied upon its fruitful relationship with the Calcularia and, on occasion, the Hermetics, to develop new inventions for commercial use or to enhance our production output. However, Lady Mackintosh, ever the visionary, deemed it prudent to invest in our own patents. Thus, the research wing was established. We take great pride in employing some of the best engineers of our time, such as Mr. Granville Woods and Miss Hilda Hewitt. Hewlett. Like Hewlett-Packard? What exactly does your job entail? As I stated before, I'm the overseer of our research wing. Prior to this, I was a medical doctor, but one dedicated to the advancements of medicine through research. I was never the most gifted scholar, but my social graces saw me rise through the ranks of the political battleground, that is, academia. Lady Mackintosh recognized my rather unique blend of skills and entrusted me with the management of her researchers. It is my duty to administrate their performance and ensure their work meets the rigorous standards demanded by the company. God, I hate him. I hate him so much. I have questions about you. Oh, let's hear them. How long have you been in Nightingale? Nightingale is a city of migrants, but I suppose I am the exception that proves the rule, for I was born and raised here. My family's estate is in Warwickshire, though I have never laid eyes on it, nor am I anywhere near the line of inheritance. Our branch left England during the reign of King James I, and by a series of curious turns, my great-grandparents settled here in Nightingale. My parents have long supported the company, though I do have an uncle entangled with the Hermetics and a cousin making inroads with the Calcularia. If the end times offer one small mercy, it is the blessed absence of family gatherings. I already asked this, right? Born and raised, okay. Are you related to Sir Nicholas Throckmorton, ambassador to Queen Elizabeth? Yes, the beloved politician who famously charmed his way out of imprisonment on enemy soil is my distant ancestor and namesake. Mother believed the name would prove auspicious, that I might inherit his graces and his fortune. I dare say I have the former. The latter, however, remains in rather short supply these days. Why didn't you try to flee to the realms? If I wanted to impress you, I'd speak of duty and nobility. But the truth, I simply weighed my odds and decided I stood a better chance against the Pale than the feral beasts of the Feywilds. Of course, that was before the Bound decided to join the festivities. Questions about the people of Nightingale. Ah, of course you do. What do you make of Ada Lovelace? Lady Lovelace is a remarkable woman. Her vision and mathematical prowess catapulted Nightingale into the future. Without her, this city would have fallen, to the Bound, or perhaps to our own folly. I would follow her anywhere. What are your true feelings about Maria Sklodowska-Curie? Maria is a brilliant researcher and one of the bravest individuals I've ever met. She already has my admiration, and I'd gladly offer her my friendship if only she could hear me from her pedestal of righteousness. Is there anything you can tell me about Lady Mackintosh? Nothing you couldn't hear elsewhere, but if the gossip hasn't reached you, allow me to share the tale. Gallivant had an underprivileged upbringing, but through talent and hard work she became Lord Mackintosh's estate manager. Within months, his stock flourished under her hand like never before. Their business partnership blossomed into a romantic one, and she ascended to the title of Lady Mackintosh, as we know her today. She replaced her husband as chairperson of the NTTC some 20 years ago, and under her leadership, the company has grown into a powerhouse to rival the British Crown itself. That's enough for now. Quite right, and how else may I be of service to you? I will take my leave. What is this? Oh hey guys, what's up? I hear Hope Echo. Oh. Hey, what's this? Phonograph cylinder? Oh my god. There's 5 of these too. Supply room door? Okay. The evacuees have been situated safely. We can wait no longer for those who remain in Mordric Fen. We've already extended more grace than we can afford. Send a team to transport Mordric Fen's remaining coal to Queensbray. Afterwards, deactivate the Pale Pylon. That such a thankless task should fall to you is unfortunate, and no doubt your mind will linger on its consequences. I bid you put them aside and focus instead on what must be done. There will be time enough for regret after we have declared victory. Your actions buy us time. If that time ensures that even just one human survives to see the end of this calamity, then we have won. Even a Pyrrhic victory is still a victory. Got this box. Hold on, what is that? Excellent everything. The only thing it's missing is the augments, honestly. Oh, it's copper? Okay. How does this door open? Why does this place look so weird? It's all indoors. Wow. One more? The History of Nightingale. Oh my god, that annoying hope echo is... It's getting to me. How do I open the door down below? Oh wait, what? Why did this open? Fire riches. Here it is. How did it come to this? Where did we go wrong? Innovation in industry, progress, and the promise for a better future, but we've destroyed tomorrow, haven't we? Hold on, don't I want to get... I think I want to play a different card, not the rare drops, but the reward. Yeah, fossilized dicker. Plant fiber. Is going on, man? Ooh, what's down here, huh? Ooh, what's this? Assemble fade devices, transition pylons, find new magical source. Prisoner's burrow, basement, fake collectibles. Oh dang, I thought that was a chest. Pretty sweet looking chest. Nice. I mean, I want more of the, what's it called? Brightomire. But man, that's a cut gem. Jeez, that's actually pretty valuable. Something up there. Aha, okay. Elevator. Synchronous Lotus plus bonuses, it's like. But they're not great bonuses. How is this an elevator anyway? to fight a fabled automaton bishop? Wonder where you went. There you are, I see you. Where he go? Where he going? Hear him, but I don't see him. Oh, what the fuck? Bonus items? Oh. Ah, what? The stockroom was pitch black, then a flash. Those damned fiends and their grenades. I had but a second to offer my final prayers. So who might you be? The ferryman out for my soul? Ha! Ow, I shouldn't laugh in this state. Thank you, stranger. The name's Granville Woods. If I hadn't overindulged in your kindness yet, I could use a hand getting out of this pit. Come with me. I can't thank you enough, my friend. My camp is over by the docks, not far from the burrow. Once there, I can tend to my wounds. Follow me. Well, how do I get out? See teleport? Nope. Do I build a ladder or something? Is that even a thing? Okay, where am I taking this guy? Oh, by the docks. We're here on this thing? Camp on the docks. Oh, in here? Is there a door? I don't have to break down? I guess we're gonna have to break it. We made it, what I wouldn't give for a warm bath and a moment's rest. But today I am not bound food, and that's a miracle in itself. Your kindness has saved me from myself, and now I'm in your debt. If the day comes when I may return the favor, know that I won't hesitate. But for now, I offer you my gratitude and my friendship. Why were you by yourself in the burrow? I wish I had a nobler answer, but the simple truth, a heady mixture of desperation and temerity. There's nothing quite as intoxicating as inching closer to a breakthrough. I held it in my hands for a moment, and then we lost it. I suppose that was one loss too many. I might have explained my actions with probability and reason, but I was no more rational than a drowning man cursing at the tides. What breakthrough do you speak of? The Pale Pylons run an exorbitant amount of energy, and the city's fuel reserves are draining fast. Maria Sklodowska and I took charge of finding an alternative before sacrifices had to be made. Or more sacrifices had to be made. She had a gruesome stroke of genius, extracting raw magic from the anomalous bound hearts that nest near the transepts. Thaumaturgic bound hearts, we call them, for the perpetual magical current coursing through them. A practical solution. What stands in your way? Unfortunately, our findings came too late. When we were ready to harvest the heart, the bound in the calcularium grew too powerful for our reins. Our goal was to prevent bloodshed, never to be the cause of it, so Maria shut the doors behind us. I went to the burrow in search of the common bound hearts. I convinced myself I could change their nature, turn the brittle organs into the monstrosity we found near the transept. Maria was right to discourage me. It wasn't a hypothesis, but a foolish attempt at defying fate. Why can't you use a regular bound heart? We made attempts, but they weren't resilient nor powerful enough to withstand the process required to harvest their energy. Our original theory was that the hearts were engorged and energized by the despair flooding the city. Now I believe the despair enhances their properties but doesn't create them. Perhaps they're an inherently strange type of heart. Perhaps the proximity to the transept alters their nature. It's hard to know without further research. Are you a chemist like Maria? Not quite, no. I'm an engineer by trade and an inventor through relentless ambition. While Maria studied the heart's essence and chemical reactions, I had my hands covered in grease, putting our machines to work. The blend of our fortes resulted in an engine capable of converting the dark magic within the hearts into pure electricity. If our estimations are correct, and I assure you they are, it could power the pylons for a lifetime. Of course, I had to learn quite a bit about chemistry, but always under Maria's guidance. In turn, I'd like to believe she learned a fair amount of engineering from me. Despite the bad news, I'm sure Maria will be glad to know you're safe. Maria has long steeled herself against grief, but I couldn't forgive myself if I added her to her list of losses. Thank you for showing me grace when I needed it most. I promise not to let this hurdle become an anchor around my neck. May I ask you a question? I want to know more about you. My life ought to disappoint a traveled realm walker such as yourself, but I'll indulge you, of course. Where are you from? If my accent hasn't given it away, I'm from America, born in Columbus, though I've moved around quite a bit over the years. Most recently, I was settled in Cincinnati, where I founded the Woods Electric Company. Before all this, I had planned to head to New York with my brother, although Dr. Throckmorton worked tirelessly to convince me to come to Nightingale instead. In the end, I gave in, if only to answer McIntosh's call for volunteers to help build the pylons. But if the world ever sees a return to normalcy, I'll be on the first ship home. Why did you join the NTTC? Well, initially, Dr. Nicholas Throckmorton approached me with a business proposition. The NTTC wasn't interested in purchasing a Woods Electric Company, but in the end we reached an agreement for an investment instead. I retained my position as the major shareholder and continued my operations in America, but our partnership led me to make frequent trips to Nightingale. The more I learned about the company's ideals, the more I found myself aligned with them. Like Lady McIntosh, I believe that technology should serve to improve our lives. Curiosity for curiosity's sake is fine for some, but I am not drawn to possibilities. I seek results. I want to create machines that make a real difference. I want to know about your work. Careful now, once I start talking shop, I might never stop. What led you and Curie to perfect the pylons? The pale pylons run an exorbitant amount of energy, and the city's fuel reserves are draining fast. Maria and I took charge of finding an alternative energy source before more sacrifices had to be made. Thaumaturgic bound hearts. While Maria and I searched for alternative energy sources, her contacts and the Hermetics were studying the anomalous bound hearts found near the transepts. We called them thaumaturgic bound hearts for the perpetual magical current coursing through them. Okay, what is your partnership with Curie like? Maria is a skilled chemist and physicist, and I am an electrical engineer and inventor. While Maria studied the heart's essence and chemical reactions, I had my hands covered in grease. I think I asked this already. Yep. People of Nightingale. You and Maria seem close. Maria and I come from completely different worlds, yet we're alike in all the ways that matter most. For one, neither of us is particularly good at keeping quiet or following orders blindly. We both kept digging at the same problems long enough that our paths were bound to cross, and I dare say we were both better for it. It's a strange time to form friendships, but even if the city falls, I'm grateful I met Maria before it did. What are your thoughts on Throckmorton? I worked closely with Dr. Throckmorton, even before the calamity. He was the one who took notice of my achievements in America and extended an offer for a contract with the company. At a time when many sought to undermine me, Nicholas was one of the few who extended a hand. I'm not blind to the benefits our partnership brought him as well, but I'm still grateful for his support. Those are the facts. Anything beyond that, well, that'd be simply my opinion. I'd like to hear your opinion. I believe Nicholas has a great deal of goodness within him, but he's convinced himself that it's a weakness, one that must be locked away. His actions during the calamity were deplorable, yet I don't think they came from malice, more from sheer ineptitude. Nicholas is the kind of leader you'd want during times of prosperity, but not the brother-in-arms you'd seek in the heat of a crisis. Okay, what do you make of Lady McIntosh? All I know from McIntosh comes from hearsay. I've only recently come to the city, and during my visits she was always occupied with matters of her own. We did dine at the same table once, but that's the extent of our relationship. What I do know is that she rose from nothing, relying on wit and skill to climb to the position of chairperson of the NTTC. Back home, we'd call her the very embodiment of the American dream. Nicholas often used her story to entice me to join the company, and I must admit it worked like a charm. I do hope I'll have the chance to meet her properly one day. Have you met Ada Lovelace? I know of her, of course, but we never had the pleasure of meeting. It's possible our paths crossed while we were working on the pylons, but we were all too absorbed in our tasks to share any pleasantries. I hear a great deal about her from Maria, plenty of admiration with just the faintest trace of disappointment. Then again, we all know that heroes are best left unmet. That's enough for now. I must take my leave. is this? Bandersnatch bones? Oop, chests. Oh, this. Okay, where did that stupid frickin' automaton go? Did this thing reset? Yeah, I think it reset. There may be a time limit. Supposed to talk to Maria, but let's check this out. Oh, it's agility. Okay, I'm gonna call it here. I'll come back tomorrow, maybe. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. We'll talk to Marie Curie the next time I start this up. Unfortunately, I gotta work tomorrow, so that means I have to be in bed at a reasonable time. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Take it easy.